Alright guys, Rich here from the RCNetwork.com bringing you another unboxing video. Well, today we have the all-new Senton 6S Blx from Arrma. Now this is of course their 1/10 scale 4-wheel drive short course truck, and it is capable of running 6S LiPo, 60 plus miles per hour out of the box. So pretty cool. Now this is the re-release version of this vehicle. Now of course in 2015 Arrma came out with 4 different 6S Blx vehicles, starting with the Typhon, the Senton, the Talion, and the Creighton. So all different platforms, anywhere from a 1/10 scale short course truck up to a 1/8 scale monster truggy with the Creighton. So now with the whole lineup of vehicles from Arrma last year, they included some pretty good electronics, but there was a couple of issues with them on the first batch. So they ended up kind of revamping their ESC, and now we're seeing an all-new motor and ESC in their 6S platform. So that is the major change with the re-release of the Senton, or what I'm calling the version 2. So that is the biggest change of this thing. Of course, we're seeing a different body right here, so different graphics on it, going from a blackish color to a green, I'm guessing. Maybe it's yellow. Maybe you guys can chime in on what color that is. And the other change is, of course, there is Tactic inside now. So it is coming with a Tactic remote instead of the old kind of fly sky looking one that was in the previous gen version. So let me go ahead and get this thing unboxed. I'll be right back and show you what you get inside the box. So I've gotten everything unboxed now, and before we get to the star of the show over here, the Senton, let's go over some of the boring stuff. But right here we do have the Tactic remote. This is the TTX 300. Pretty much been a great remote so far. I've had this in the Nero, I've had it in a couple of Axial vehicles, so pretty tried and proven, and it takes 4 AA's on the bottom right here, so pretty standard for a 2.4 gigahertz radio. I really like the wheel on these and the grip on the wheels, but you do have dual rate, throttle trim, steering trim, a couple of buttons right here that are non-functional at this point, and then on this side you do have channel reversing, and then of course the power button. So the trigger feels pretty decent. It's somewhat of a small remote, but in the end it'll get you going on day one. Other things you get in the box, you do get some battery clamps. These are the clamps that go on top of the battery when the Velcro strap goes around it, just to keep your batteries in order, especially if you're running 2 batteries simultaneously. You do get a speed pinion. This is a 16-tooth pinion. Installed on the Senton is a 14-tooth, and to get up to the optimal 60 mile per hour speed, you will have to purchase an 18-tooth pinion, according to the speed chart that you actually get right here. Now, what I really like about Arrma vehicles is they give you these kind of speed charts. So for 30 mile per hour out of the box, you need to be running 4S and on the stock 14-tooth pinion. If you jump up to 6S, you'll be at 45 miles per hour on the stock pinion. If you bump it up to the speed pinion, the 16-tooth, and run 6S out of the box, 50 mile per hour. Now to get up to that claimed 60 mile per hour speed, you will have to purchase an 18-tooth Mod 1 pinion, and then of course run it on 6S LiPo, and that'll get you that 60 mile per hour claimed speed. You do get a whole bag of wrenches and hex wrenches, and really nice is this huge T-wrench right here for the 17mm hubs on the Senton. You do get a couple of XT90 connectors for potentially other batteries that you may have. This does have XT90 connectors. That's the other new thing. And then these things right here, I believe these are for bridge cables. I'm gonna have to inspect that a little bit more, but these are just basically XT90s, but they're the opposite side, so, or they might be just bridges. I'll have to check on that later. And last but not least, in the box you do get a full owner's manual. This thing is super thick, about 3/16 of an inch thick, and it is just packed full of everything that you'd want to know about your vehicle, how to operate it, what you'll need to operate. I mean, pretty much everything. And it goes over all 4 of the different Arrma vehicles that are the 6S BLX. Well, with that said, what do you need to run the Senton? You will need 4 AA's for that TTX 300 remote. You will need at least 4 S batteries, so you'll need 2 2S's, or if you want to run 6S, you'll need 2 3S's or 1 single 6S. I always recommend matching the cells. So if you have 2 totally different 3S batteries, you know, one's a 5,000 milliamp and one's a 3,000 milliamp, I wouldn't run those together. Run specifically matched cells. It always works out better in the long run. And then last but not least, other things that you'll need is obviously a battery charger and things like that. So let's go ahead and get the Senton in front of the stage. Let's take a look. So immediately when unpacking the Senton, I noticed, of course, the body change on this thing. You know, I think previously it was like a white, blue, red, and kind of like a silver look to it. And it definitely appealed to me. This one's a little bit nicer, and just in my opinion, I kind of like the 2-color paint scheme on this, just the black going to the green or yellow, whatever color it is. And then all the decals definitely make sense on the Senton. Of course, we have D-Boots advertising the tires. We have all the affiliated Hobbyco brands, Arrma, Team Durango, D-Boots, Track Power, Onyx. Just some great brands out there. So other things that I noticed that are new on this are the pull tabs. Now, we first saw these on the Arrma Nero, and these are definitely a welcomed addition, especially for a stock vehicle. This thing, you know, out of the box is giving you little extra bells and whistles that you wouldn't normally find on a lot of ready-to-runs. It does have some very nice thick, super thick number plates, and of course that rear wing right here, if you can see that, it's a clear wing that is mounted to a short course truck body, which is definitely different. Overall, the body seems to be very thick in the places you wanted. Probably one of the nicest short course RTR bodies I've seen. I mean, everywhere around this, it's super thick. Even down here on the bottom rocker panels, super thick. Even back here towards the rear, where a lot of even aftermarket bodies are very thin. So underneath this is a screen printed body, but as you see there's lots of cutouts to get all of the air flowing. So to minimize the parachuting effect of the Senton here. So here's the Senton with all of its glory. And one thing that just screams for me to take off is this kind of roll cage right here. Now, I know a lot of people, you know, especially when you're first off driving, you'll end up landing on your roof more than your tires. I have, in a previous video, actually removed this, removed the upper Nerf bars here, some of the upper pieces, just to minimize the weight of the Senton. This thing is a heavy girl. I mean, she's weighing in close to 9 pounds, so definitely heavy overall, and it's based on an 8-scale buggy, so it definitely has the durability factor. So the chassis is appointed very nicely. Now, this is a short course truck, but it does ride on 17 millimeter hubs on pillow ball suspension. So super nice overall. And I really like the 17 millimeter hubs, mostly because you can take any 1/8 scale buggy tire like I have here, and pretty much it matches up almost exactly in size. The Senton's tires are just a little bit smaller, but you can get, you know, just a huge array of different wheels and tires out there, and they're actually a little bit less expensive than short course. So pretty nice that it does ride on those 17 millimeter hubs. Now, you do have huge, massive, big bore shocks. Probably one of my favorite shocks on an RTR, because you get aluminum bodies, aluminum caps. I mean, everything on it just has some pretty good quality. Spring rate's good. It does have boots here to keep the dirt out, so you don't have any dirt going into the shock bodies. And you do have looks like you're running on CVDs, both front and rear, which is nice. I mean, those are all upgrades overall. Right here, you're seeing the pillow balls. So just a little bit different suspension than a traditional knuckle and caster block. So overall, I've really started to enjoy pillow ball suspension. Now, as far as turnbuckles, you have 4 millimeter turnbuckles for the steering right here. And then you have huge, stout 5 millimeter turnbuckles in the rear. So, and like I said, both front and rear sway bars, very nice. Now, this has a 3 geared fluid filled differential setup, just like an 8-scale buggy. So front, center, and rear. You do have mod 1 gearing, and you do have dog bones, it looks like, going from front to center and center to rear. Super nice overall. Adjustable battery tray is the same one that we saw in the previous gen version, but one huge thing here are the new XT90 connectors, so very nice. Body mounts are also very nice for an RTR. I mean, you have this kind of pivot design here to fit on a lot of the short course bodies. As far as I know, this is just a standard short course body. Now to the rear, same shock setup, same sway bars. Arms are very thick on this thing. I mean, probably one of the best short course trucks on the market as far as durability. Underside, we are riding on an aluminum chassis here. Super nice overall, and you do have the traditional peek out of the spur gear just to give relief if rocks or debris get caught in there. They have a way to escape, so pretty nice. You do have a metal spur gear as well. So how are the electronics? Well, we have a whole new array of electronics here, starting with this Blx motor. Now this thing is a 2050 kV motor. Seems to be pretty stout. I mean, it has a huge, large can that you'd find on traditional 1/8 scale buggies, and it's made it up to the new Blx 185. Now, common folk would refer to the Blx 180 being a 180 amp ESC, thinking that the 185 would be a 185. Well, it is not. This is actually a 150 amp ESC. So overall, it's going to be a nice addition. You do have a waterproof switch all hidden inside of here. And then we have the ADS 15M. This is a 15 kilogram servo, and I believe the conversion to that is right over 200 ounce-inches of torque. So this thing definitely gets going out of the box. It is a little bit slow. I think the last time I checked the spec on it was, you know, close to 0.2 seconds, like 0.17 if I am not mistaken. But overall, it'll definitely get you going out of the box. As far as connectors, a huge downfall on some of the old 6S Blx, the version 1s, were the kind of Dean style T connectors. They had some issues where they were cutting out here and there. I ended up replacing it with some official Deans, and they ended up curing that problem. But it looks like Arrma definitely addressed that. They're now going with the XT90, which is very fastly becoming my favorite connector. So as far as tires, we are running the D-Boots Sidewinder tires. Appears to be overall a decent tire. This will probably not excel in any one area. I think this is a good all-around tire. It'll do okay in every condition, whether you're running asphalt or if you're running on loamy surfaces, dirt with a loose cover. It'll do okay. I think if you really want to excel in one particular area, different tires are definitely going to be needed. But I think out of the box, these are great, just all-around tire. They're going to wear very nicely, especially if you run on a lot of asphalt. You may lose a little bit of traction if you're going to run this on like a hard pack dirt with like a loose top, but overall it gets you going out of the box. Now it does have traditional short course wheels, the 2.2 I believe size-wise, up to the 3-inch in the rear. But like I said earlier, you can run pretty much any 8-scale wheel and tire on this combo and be perfectly fine. Now, as far as the wheel nuts, you do have aluminum serrated wheel nuts, which is very nice. I mean, right out of the box, nice little upgrade feature. And when I went ahead and pulled off one of these, you do have aluminum wheel adapters right here, and then aluminum caps going onto the pillow ball suspension. So, I mean, just this thing screams little bits of upgrades here and there, which is really nice. Alright, well there you have it. That is my unboxing of the Arrma Senton 6S Blx version 2. This thing definitely promises to be a great short course truck. Now of course, Arrma updated the electronics in this thing. They gave us extra little bells and whistles like these pull tabs and the new Tactic radio system. I mean, this thing just screams quality, and if you're looking for the ultimate short course basher truck, this is it. Bar none. There's nothing better on the market, in my opinion, as far as short course truck, bashing, lots of power, and just going out there and having fun. Well guys, that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please feel free to check out my new website, the RCNetwork.com. Lots of additional information and exclusive content of this Senton, so definitely check that out. Well guys, that's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a like, thumbs up, whatever you'd like to call it, and subscribe. That's it for now guys. Over and out.